the other co-founder, my business partner, Adonis McReynolds.
How you doing?
And yeah, it's great. I'm so excited. We're going to get to talk to everyone today and explain a little bit about what we do, why we do it, and how we help.
Okay.
Just briefly, I kind of started this business first just because I had run a digital marketing agency starting in 2019. And in 2023, I lost a few of my big clients, and I was just feeling really burnt out and really tired, as all business owners do at some point. So instead of running a business, I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just gonna get a remote job and I'm not gonna be a business owner anymore. So I started applying for jobs and I realized that it was horrible because I hadn't applied for jobs since like 2017, 2018, because I'd been running my business for the past 5, 6 years. So the landscape, the market had just shifted so much and everything was really, really crazy. So I started researching like how to get a job, what's going on, why is this happening? And instead of getting a job, then I said, well, I really want to solve this problem. So I'm going to start a new business. But at the time, I was thinking of just becoming a remote jobs coach. But luckily, I met Adonis and he reached out to me with an offer that I couldn't refuse because he has years and years of recruiting experience. He's amazing at getting people jobs. So together, we partnered and we built out JobStream AI.
Amen. Hallelujah. It was amazing. So yeah, just to give a little background too, my name is Adonis, as she said. My background is in business to business recruitment. I've been doing recruitment of executives, mid-level professionals, as well as entry-level professionals over the course of my career. And upon the time that I met Jess, she was still doing a lot of her digital marketing and things along those lines. So we've known each other a while. But I came to find out that the market was indeed very tough. I was talking to a lot of candidates, and everything that Jessica just said really kind of was exactly what they were saying. And so I think we were kind of on the same page. We had a lot of similar ideas without even really knowing that we did. And it just so happened we were having a conversation and I had this idea that I had thought up of, you know what? Today, in today's world, there is a lot of different people looking for work. And if there's any business that is bound to succeed, it's a business that can figure out how to help more people find work all on their own without necessarily needing a ton of help. But that turned into a premium service, a service that we provide where we do indeed step in and help all kinds of people in different professions find great opportunities. And yeah, Jessica and I kind of partnered together, and we'll explain in just a bit how we do that and what we're doing from that vantage point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think both of our skills just really match because you had so much talent with the recruiting side and knowing what jobs, like what the CEOs want, what the hiring managers want. And I was doing, years and years of marketing experience. And really in today's world, it's all about marketing yourself to get that job. Like the apply and pray method just doesn't work anymore. The walking into a store or a bank and saying like, "Hey, I need a job," doesn't work anymore. So you really do have to use some of those digital marketing skills. So that's why I think together we really like complemented each other on the skill set that we have, and we can really provide like a well-rounded, holistic approach for our clients. And yeah, but today we really do want to talk about those problems in the job market, what the problems are that we're seeing, and how we're working to fix those to help you guys because it is really crazy out there. So
Yeah,
our first
absolutely.
one is probably a little bit obvious, but of course, it's about how job posts are flooded with competition.
Exactly. I think like when it comes to what Jessica's talking about, um, the competition has been expanded quite rapidly. There's more and more people that are available for work these days. There is a lot of people all around the world that are able to compete with you. So if you're an executive and you were used to competing in a local market against other executives, lo and behold, now you got to compete with Janice from Iowa or Patricia from California when you live in Maine, right? And so it's a very competitive place now. There are more people in America and all over in different places all over the world where more people are, and the competition for jobs is very, very fierce. So naturally, this is going to present a large amount of competition that you're going up against in the job market, making your search a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. That's really like what it is. Sometimes we think about competing overseas, but it's not always about competing overseas. A lot of times it's about competing nationally because now all the states are open to the same job instead of just like your local market. and it does become a problem. Um, yeah. Do you have anything else to add on that, or shall
I
we
do.
move?
I do. Yeah. I mean, the next thing I think that really matters in terms of this conversation is this started maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, right? So we all know what happened. 4 to 5 years ago. People started working remote. It became a norm, and once that happened, that changed the world forever. And I think that's why the job market is the way that it is, because when people were forced to go remote all over the world, people realized how nice it was, and everybody wants to do it, right? So not everybody can do it. It's a privilege to be able to do it, but everyone wants to do it that can. And so that opens up the doors, we were just saying, for all of these people who don't have to go anywhere. They can stay in the comforts of their home, and they can compete with you for jobs that typically before it was a matter of, well, are you here? Are you available to join the team for meetings? That's not always going to be a requirement now that companies have seen people love to work remote. In fact, everybody's trying to create that environment for their teams. So yeah, that's all I have to say regarding that particular problem.
Yeah, and that is a problem. And another big problem that we're seeing is the fact that we're actually seeing a lot of fake job postings out there. So not only are you competing with other people nationally, but now you're applying to jobs that might not even be real. And some of the reasons for that are actually one, companies want to look good for investors. So sometimes they will say that they have like a job posting out just so it looks good, like, oh look, we're trying to hire an executive, we're trying to hire a director, like give us the funding, give us the money because we have all these positions open and we're going to do great. And it's not even true. They just want to get the money. Another reason they do that is because they want to appease their employees. So sometimes they know their employees are overworked, like a few people have left, quit, got fired, and they don't want to replace them because they don't want to spend the money. So the employees are going to complain. But if they put a fake job posting up and say, hey, look, we're hiring, don't worry, they know that their employees will stay quiet for longer. So, of course, both those things are really unethical and we're super against that. But that is a big problem in today's market. In fact, Adonis brought up the fact to me that it's over 50% of jobs are fictitious and created just to attract investors or to appease employees. So that's something that we get around and make sure you're not wasting your time applying for fake jobs. And we also really don't want the situation to come up where it might not even be a fake job, but they're only going to hire you for 2 or 3 months. So they're going to like say, hey, yeah, we need the money. They get the money from the investor, they hire you, and now the money's in the bank, and then they fire you 2 months later. Especially when they have those 90-day probation periods, it's super easy for them to let you go for any made up reason just because they got the money from the investor that they wanted. So we really want to help you guys avoid that as well.
Amen. Yeah, that's a huge problem. And what I'll add to that as a final point on this particular problem, um, it's not just companies that want to appease employees or want to impress investors. There are actually legitimate criminals online that create jobs for the purpose of collecting your information. They pose as companies. Some of them actually are companies, but their whole operation is a scam, right? I've being in sales as long as I've come across a few of these where, you get in and it's like, what is going on? Or, you get into an interview process and you realize something's off. Something's really strange about this company. This company is not normal. The CEO doesn't want to meet you. You're meeting with somebody, but like in a very unprofessional format. Not a lot of questions are being asked in the interview. It's just kind of like, hey, can you join the team? And it's like, well, there's no test, there's no nothing. Watch out. Anything that's too easy to get into is probably some sort of scam or some type of bad situation that you don't want to be a part of. So just something that we also are able to preempt, given that we have a bunch of data that we run on each of these companies and are able to kind of tell what's going on behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It literally happened to me. I started working remotely in 2016 and I almost got scammed and it was super weird like that. So definitely be careful if they want like WhatsApp interviews where there's no video component at all. They refuse to get on video. Obviously that's a huge red
Let's
flag.
meet on Skype.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Skype's shutting down now. So if anyone says that in the next 2 months, they're definitely lying. But yeah, no, it could be really, really problematic. And I've seen people lose like tens of thousands of dollars from these scams. So it is really, really scary. And that's something that we definitely can help with because we know the red flags. And these scammers can be very sophisticated. In this scam, it was a real company. but they literally like cloned their website. So they cloned the website and then they made like fake LinkedIn profiles saying that they worked at the company. So the company actually existed, but they didn't know that this scam was happening and they weren't hiring. So they get really, really sophisticated sometimes. So it is hard. Like, it's not to like victim blame. It's like these people are smart and they know what they're doing, and it happens a lot. And we don't want that for you guys.
Yeah, they're scam artists for a reason. But one of the other problems that we're facing in the market is that 4 out of every 5 jobs that are available in the world today, you actually don't know about. They're hidden jobs. And what good is a hidden job, right? For somebody who's out of a job, because you're looking online, you're desperately seeking that right opportunity, but you don't know that the company right around the street is hiring, right? And what other way of knowing would you have unless you're calling into these companies and figuring out their whole situation? We actually are able to track when companies are beginning to start thinking about this type of a thing, because we actually use data providers that are up to date on internet search activity. I know that sounds kind of creepy. I like to call it a job search espionage. But at the same time, like, this is incredibly advantageous for a job search person, right? For somebody who's looking for a job. I like to also call it job search intelligence. We're able to tell you, based on what's going on in the market, hey, I think there's some really good opportunities for you that aren't even posted online, and we can actually get in line to go see if we can apply for those and or message those people directly. So that's going to be something that will become mandatory in the near future for you if you really want to succeed in your job search, to have access to that market that nobody else has access to.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone in listening is into real estate, then you know how good an off-market deal is with housing. So that's what we want to do with the job market. Like, sometimes it's all about networking, it's all about who you know, and that's really true. Over 75% of people who get jobs in today's market get it because they're a referral and they know someone and they were a warm lead. Most people who just apply and pray and have no connection to the company, don't know anyone in the company, don't have a referral, will not get the job. So we will help you also with finding the hidden jobs and the networking aspect too. And another big issue is obviously the increased competition, but also the diminishing jobs, because we all know that AI is coming and is here and has taken a lot of jobs away. Or if they haven't taken the job away, it's a skill that you need to have. And a lot of our clientele, who are executives who have been working in jobs for years and years, aren't always the most tech savvy, which is completely okay, but it is harder to get a job if you're not super up to date with AI.
Absolutely. Yeah, AI is not something to be feared if you're prepared. Preparation always will beat fear if it's done properly. And that's what we're really here for. We understood that the market was indeed panicked. There were so many people that I was talking to that are like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And being a recruiter and having been in this situation before, to a degree, I'd say that we're all kind of in uncharted territory to an extent. But having been in a position before myself where my back was against the wall and I needed to find a job, I know what gets people hired. I know why ultimately people make hiring decisions. It's not because of your resume. It's not because of your LinkedIn. Believe it or not, it's as simple as this. It's 100% personal, right? So when somebody says, "Sorry, man, it's not personal. It's just business," don't believe them, right? Everything is personal, and that includes the job search process. So what does this mean? Why is this important to know? Because if you don't start developing personal, close relationships with people, start making connections that are meaningful in the workplace, you will be someone else will take your role, right? Somebody else who's willing to go to that degree to develop the relationship, hyper personalize their approach, really start building relationships with people in the market. Those are the people who are going to succeed. I call it the economy of relationships, right? By the way, this is not new. This is how the world has always been, but it's especially important in the world today. And unfortunately, a lot of people have lost touch with their relational side. It's time to reawaken that. It's time to bring the human back into the workplace. And I think that's really what we're going to help to do here with our strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Because like we said, AI is coming, and one of the biggest problems with AI today is that everyone uses applicant tracking software. So of course, applicant tracking software is fantastic on the hiring side because it makes their job a lot easier. But it really is frustrating for the people on the applying side because obviously, as we know, 75% of CVs and resumes are not seen by real humans anymore because your CV has to pass a robot, and the robot doesn't always know that you're an amazing candidate if you forgot a few keywords or you didn't put the right format. Like I used to have a beautiful CV that I made in Canva and I was all fancy and stuff. And then I started using that to apply in 2023. And I realized that doesn't work because the robot can't read the fancy formatting. So it automatically shuts it down. So it wasn't even seeing the content of my CV. It was just seeing an unreadable document and discarding it. So then I had to go back to the just the plain white paper, which like made me a little sad design wise, but that's what you need to do these days because you need to pass that robot if you are doing the apply and pray way, which we're encouraging you not to do for this reason.
Exactly. Yeah. Everything that Jess said, I agree with, as it pertains to dodging the ATS system. And just one helpful tip, if you're seeing a coach right now, or you're getting advice from someone about like, hey, let me help you optimize your resume for the ATS system, or, let's look at your LinkedIn profile and make sure all your keywords are situated properly, just run, because those things don't really ultimately move the needle for you. Those things are helpful to an extent, but really at the end of the day, ATS systems are all different. It's a complete myth that you can figure out the ATS system and surpass it and get people to read your resume that way. It's just it's all a scam to get you to pay into a service that really is just going to do what everyone else is basically doing, which is sending your resume in, like just like everyone would be able to do on their own. And then also on top of all that, like get your LinkedIn all fancy, but for what, right? Like who, with all the LinkedIn profiles that are out there, there's millions and millions of users on LinkedIn. Like why would they look at your profile and choose you out of sea of thousands, millions for a position that they're working on? It's possible that they could, but I just don't think that that's a dependable, reliable way of going about this process anymore, as Jess was just saying.
I fully agree with everything that you said. And I think that is the main problems that we wanted to talk about. But if there's any other problems that come to mind, but if not, then I would love to talk about the solutions and how to fix these problems.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into what we're actually doing to fix this, because I'm sure all of these problems are relatable, and everyone here is saying, "Amen, this sucks. Like I don't like this." What do we do though? Like you're sitting here talking about you can solve this problem. What is your strategy? How are you guys going about doing this? So go ahead, Jessica. You can kind of hit on that first point. That's really important.
Yeah, so like we said, we do optimize resumes and LinkedIn profiles because it's still something that is, kind of needed, but it's not the most important thing and it's not the only thing that we do. So what we really do is come together and develop a winning strategy that gets you more attention in the market. And our strategy is fully customizable to your wants and your needs. So if you tell us like, look, I'm only interested in remote jobs that pay $80,000 a year in this industry, then that's what we're going to do. We're going to customize the system to find you that $80,000 a year remote job in the industry that you're looking for. We're not just going to, like we say, spray and pray, apply and pray, like, oh, well, we apply, I know you said you wanted a remote job for 80,000, but we found you this office job for 50,000. No, we don't do that. It's fully customizable. And it's all automated as well. We do a lot of automation. So our system actually can apply to up to 2,000 jobs a month, which I don't think any human in the world could do, even if they really tried. And that's a really big part of it. So if you want to touch on a little bit more of that.
Sure. Just as a point of clarification, too, what Jess is saying here is not that LinkedIn and resumes are useless. We want to be very clear in our dialogue here that resumes and LinkedIn are very, very important. If you don't have a good resume, you don't have a LinkedIn, that's kind of like trying to go outside and run a marathon without shoes, right? You could do it, but it would be a lot harder, especially if you're running on really hot concrete and on a really, like if you're running on rocks or whatever, right? But the point is, you do want it. You do want to have it. You do want it optimized. We don't in any way discourage people from getting those things optimized. What we discourage is the whole idea of like, okay, I'm going to design this specifically to avoid an ATS system. That's what we feel is a complete waste of your time and your money if you're spending it on somebody who's claiming they're going to do that for you, as well as the whole LinkedIn optimization thing, right? Like LinkedIn optimization is important, but not for trying to attract AI bots or recruiters or anything like that from the standpoint of just keywords. I think it should always reflect the resume and show a clear vision of who they're getting, right? LinkedIn should tell you, who is this person? What are they about? What is their mission, their goal? What makes them valuable, right? And if you tell a really good story on there, then it really does become a place where you can kind of be an inbound lead generator for work. But you still got to get people attracted to your page, and that's pretty hard to do just optimizing a LinkedIn page. You need some real traffic on that thing. So we'll talk about that next as a solution. Oh, and yes, I do want to address what Jessica said too about the automation. We certainly do have a way of being able to scale your outreach. If you're only applying to like 10, 20 companies a day because you're doing it all manually, ew. Okay, that is not the way we do it. That's not the way any advanced person in their job search is going to be doing things, because at the end of the day, like if you're only sending out 15 to 20 and your competition is sending out, a quality 200, right? Because they're using automation to do it. And by the way, you can still hyper personalize using automation. This is something that I have experience with. You got to adapt. This is not, your granddaddy's market, right? This is the very, very modern world in which everything is very, very much survival of the fittest. If you do not adapt, you will not survive. That is the truth. So just wanted to clarify those 2 points. We will also strategically scale. There's a difference between a spray and pray approach of like, hey, here's all of these companies that I want to work for. Let's just blast an email. That's not what we do. It's very, very tactical, very strategic, and we have a way of being able to scale from one to many, one to one at the same time. So, for more details on that, you'll have to kind of, follow along as we post different things and get more involved with people directly. But nevertheless, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, those are all super great points. And like you said, it's strategic. So part of what we do is build genuine relationships. We're not just sending, an email that makes no sense. We're not sending emails to bother the person. We're sending high quality emails that the person is going to be interested in. And it also might even make a position for you. Like sometimes they're like, okay, I don't have a job open right now. But because you sent such good emails and you positioned yourself as that expert, that authority, in the future, they're going to be like, you know what, this person really intrigued me. I was so interested in what they had to say. Like maybe I'm going to actually create a position for them because that's how valuable they were. And that's the kind of thing that we want to do. We really want to do the automation with the personalization to build genuine connections with hiring managers and CEOs so that they are so impressed by you and you're the top of mind anytime there is a job opening. It's not just like, hey, I applied. Hey, did you get my CV? Hey, I didn't hear anything. Hey, am I getting an interview? It's not about annoying people. It's about genuinely enjoying, like, oh, wow, this person and we vibe and we're going to work together super well. And I know they're going to bring value to my business. That's what we really want to do with our automation and our emails and our sequences.
Exactly. And feeding off of that, another problem that people are having in the market, that we're addressing here, is you're going into most of your opportunities pretty blind. You don't really know what the other company is making per year, generally speaking. You don't know if they're going through a merger or acquisition, how many people they've cut or they've let go over the last few years. This is data that I have through partnerships, right? And this is the value of working with a job search strategist and an agent who understands the market. Just the other day, I was talking with Jess about this. Was talking with a lady, right? This lady is very innocent, but extremely good at what she does, right? Like she's an executive assistant. She's done executive work with like several C level people at the same time. This is a very, smart person. But yet again, here we had a scammer, right? We had this company, it's about 20 people based out of LA, kind of trying to do some stuff in the market that's very like usually not looked at favorably. And it was kind of all under wraps. There were some things about them in the background that wouldn't have been obvious to somebody who's applying to things on the outside. And we were able to deduce that it wasn't the right company for her. right? Just very quickly be able to save her that time, be able, and like, certainly people can do their own research and figure some of these things out for themselves, but we got your back. You don't ever have to worry about like, oh, I applied here, and then we're just like, oh yeah, we see that they're going through a merger and acquisition, and we just continue to let you go forward with it, right? We're going to be very much like kind of trying to play gatekeeper, keeping you from making that terrible mistake of joining a company that you don't want to be a part of. So very, very important to apply with a data driven approach rather than just going for what seems to be ideal or what seems to be good about that company.
Yeah, exactly. Like this business is all about taking the pain away. So, if you're going to be sitting down and applying and it takes you 2, 3 hours just to apply to one job, because that's kind of how it is these days with all these like tests and video applications and this and that. And then you get ghosted or you get a rejection letter. That's just like a form letter. It's going to hurt like a lot more because you put in so much time and effort. But if you're applying to like 2,000 jobs a month in 1 hour, 2 hours, and you get some rejections, which is obviously going to happen, it hurts a lot less because you didn't waste your whole day to get that rejected. You just clicked a few buttons, you called us, and now, oh, you got a few rejections, of course, out of 2,000. But who cares? Because you also have so much more opportunity to get that yes. And that's really what we want to do. We want to make the job process enjoyable again and not just like the worst thing that's ever happened. Because that's how I felt. I was like, I want to cry every day just thinking about applying to jobs in today's market. And with this system, I wouldn't cry at all. I'd be so happy. I'd be like, well, I don't have to really do anything, depending on the level, because we do have 3 packages. So we are trying to appeal to everyone to meet you where you are at. But if you do have the money for our premium service and you really want that hands-off experience, we can make it. So all you're doing is showing up to interviews, and that's really it. And that to me is like my dream. Like I don't want to do anything except show up to the interview, close the deal. That's something we also offer as well. We do offer interview negotiation interview tips and salary negotiation tips to help. And we do have our secret weapon. Do we want to talk about our secret weapon? The ultimate
Absolutely.
video
Yeah.
resume?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's very few companies out there that are doing what we're doing, right? I mean, we've just kind of gone through a ton of really valuable components. There's a couple of things that we do that no one really wants to do, right? For example, once we get into the automation stage and we start using an omni-channel strategy to reach your desired targets, I'll also get on the phone. Like I'm a very aggressive cold caller, right? So like when it comes down to it, like I want to be in the trenches with you. I want to talk with people on your behalf and or write some good scripts so that way you can talk to people about different messages that have been done. And these aren't necessarily cold calls. These are warm calls that have been done through our efforts as marketers, right? Like when we do the outreach for you, we're warming up contacts, we're doing using hyper personalized messaging, we're really breaking through a lot of these cold walls, a lot of these barriers, right? I mean, just the other day working with a client, um, referenced something that I had seen in some research, and we broke through, and the guy forwarded the guy's resume over to the CFO. you know and that's how opportunities are created. It's hyper personalization, really strong messaging, and of course having some good alignment with the company itself. So um, I want to get beside you. I want to help generate more opportunities using the phone, or writing scripts for you to do the same. And then we also have what Jess was alluding to, which I think I'll spend a few minutes talking about, but certainly it's a situation in which we're constantly evolving. We're constantly looking at ways that we can be ahead of the curve, and this is one of those ways that we're certainly ahead of the curve right now. Many job applications, as Jess knows, are going to ask you, hey, can you send us a video, right, that shows why you're the right fit, right? And so what do we do? What is like the general reaction when we get on there? What would you do, Jessica, if you came across something like that in your application?
Honest, honestly, I've this happened to me so many times where I've gotten to that stage where it says send a video and I just closed the application. I said, never mind, I'm not doing it.
That's the
So
way I did it. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
there's some times I did it because the opportunity was appealing, but let's be honest, like nobody really wants to do this, like, and shoot a monologue of like on Loom or like whatever other technology you might be using on your phone. Nobody wants to have to do all of that and try to put together some high quality production video on the spot of like why I suddenly want to work for this company, right? A company I just found out about 3 minutes ago. So rather than doing that, we've come up with a way of marketing you through video that's a lot better, a lot more comfortable, a lot less cold, and actually gives the client a good idea of like your philosophies, your work ethic. There's a number of things that they're going to be able to tell through what we put together, where it's like, okay, this person from a cohesion or personality standpoint is going to be a good fit for our organization, not just from the standpoint of their skills and their experience, but also from the way that they communicate, right? So that's a very, very important component. We call it podcast marketing, right? So similarly to how Jess and I are communicating with you, um, they're going to be communicating, or you're going to be communicating with your employers in an indirect fashion. So we prepare you for this podcast. We'll ask you some questions. We really engage with you, have a good time. It's more like a conversation than it is anything else. We never mention anything about you looking for work. That's a big no. We don't do that. What we do is we'll just talk about your philosophy. We'll talk about things you've accomplished, those bullet points in your resume that talked about how you reached 185% of your target. Like, we want to know the how. How did you do that? Right. And like, what was your philosophy? What was the key to making that happen? What did you do when you ran into adversity? These stories that you're going to tell on video, if you want to, this is an option. It's not mandatory as part of working with us, but it's a helpful option where if you're telling your story over video, how much more advantageous will your marketing be, right? When you have the digital, like messaging on LinkedIn, email, you got me cold calling for you, and you got videos that we're going to be sending out to different targets, right? That are like the ideal targets. And it's just going to be recordings and clips that we cut from the longer video. We'll make relevant clips about your experience and your stories and send those out, kind of like YouTube shorts, if you will, to your target audience. I mean, this kind of stuff just isn't, you're not going to see this. I don't know if there's a service that does this already, but added on to everything else that we're doing, this is why we consider ourselves to be a white glove premium service that's really making things happen for people.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have a professional editor. So if you do decide to go with the video with us, it's going to be very professionally made. All you have to do is film it, like sit down, talk to us, and then we handle the rest. So it looks great. We do the clips for you. And that's another part of what we do is just content marketing in general. If that's something that you do want to add on, it doesn't have to just be video, but I can also help you create posts that you could be posting 2-3 times a week on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, anywhere. And that will position you as an expert, position you as an authority. It'll populate your profiles with relevant keywords, which will help recruiters find you and attract more recruiters to your profile. So that's part of the white glove service. It's a really all-encompassing package. I've never seen anyone doing it for individuals. It's something I've been doing for years, business to business, and it's worked super well. And that's why I'm really excited to bring it to the B2C side and help you as a person use that marketing knowledge to get the job.
All right. Yeah. I'm in 100% agreement. This is something we're very excited about. And in closing, we encourage all job seekers out there. If you're watching this video and you're feeling like, hey, some of the problems that you're describing are problems that I'm running into, or maybe you're just hating your life right now because you want to transition into that new job. We're here for the job seekers that are currently employed and in transition as well. We've got something for everybody. By the way, this is also not many people are going to be aware of this, or maybe even think about this, but we also have a consulting angle that we play for people that are looking more or less to kind of be business owners and find fractional work. This process is just as good for fractional work and getting fractional clients and or just part-time and good clients that you can work with either as a marketer, an engineer, somebody who's doing sales, whatever it is that you do. You could use our marketing techniques and use our services for that, and we'll give you some really, really special offers with consulting. We really love working with consultants and helping them to build their businesses as well. Something I'm currently doing and something that we're really, really excited about for all those out there. So just wanted to mention that in closing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that really wraps it up. So whether you're looking for contracts or you're looking for a full-time role, we're here to help. We have a fully customizable system. We're doing things that no one else is doing, and we're really excited to help more people find their dream jobs and their dream contracts.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I wanted to thank you guys for spending your precious time with us, learning what we do, really kind of getting a feel for who we are, and we're really excited to help you. And see you guys on the other side.
Yeah, visit jobstreamai.com for more information and to contact us. And we're always here to help.
Until next time.
All right. Okay, let's hope that worked.
Good enough. We got a lot of messaging out there. I'm looking forward to watching it. I like how in the top left-hand corner of the screen, it says the video quality will be higher when the recording finishes. I'm like, oh, thank God, because like the recording quality is probably